Okay, there we go. Okay, welcome everyone. A lot of people on today. Sorry for the delay. It seems over time you think this would get easier, but something always comes up. Let's go ahead and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Our first agenda item this morning is going to be to approve the interim clerk. As you know, Sherry is out and Jill is sitting in for her. Welcome, Jill. Is there a motion to approve Jill Filkins as the interim district clerk?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary.
Second.
Second.
I didn't get that. Second. Who was the second?
This is Sherry, but I think I was second in seconding.
Yeah, I jumped in. Michael Heiser.
Did you? All right. Jill, you get to pick. All right. Is there any discussion on approving Jill Filkins as the interim district clerk in the absence of Michelle Record? If there's no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mrs. Gibson?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Sherry. Your video's not up. Oh, there you are. Okay, let's do it now. Sherry?
Aye.
Mr. Grandetti?
Aye.
Mr. Heiser?
Aye.
Mr. Hersey? Mrs. Palmer?
Aye.
Mrs. Urista?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. Motion passes. Second item is the approval of present agenda. Is there a motion to approve the present agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
That was Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley. Any discussion on the present agenda? Okay, we'll move to vote. Mrs. Gibson?
Aye.
Mr. Grandetti?
Aye.
Mr. Heiser?
Aye.
Mr. Hersey? Mrs. Palmer?
Aye.
Mrs. Urista?
Aye.
My vote is aye. Motion passes. Thank you. And finally, for the first section, the approval of the minutes of the May 18th regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Heiser. Any discussion on the meeting minutes for May 18th? If there's no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mrs. Gibson?
Aye.
Mr. Grandetti?
Aye.
Mr. Heiser?
Aye.
Mr. Hersey? Mrs. Palmer?
Aye.
Mrs. Urista?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the second item on the agenda is recognition. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Chevier.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our seniors and our junior graduate to our board meeting this evening. This is always a great event to have you here and talk about your achievements and accomplishments, not only just your senior year, but throughout your time at Maple Hill. You have worked tremendously hard, and it's hard to believe when I look at the screen. I see a lot of you. I remember when you were walking the halls at the elementary school, and here you are getting ready to cross the stage, graduation next week. So it's soak in tonight. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for making the time to be here. We like to say that it's you become part of our official record. Having this information read in at a board meeting to go down in history as receiving this honor and recognition. So thank you to our students for taking the time to be here and just for being you. You have worked tremendously hard to reach this accomplishment. And thank you to your parents and extended family. I know they play a huge role in helping guide you to the culmination of your high school career here. So enjoy tonight. Ms. Hill, I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to go ahead and start us off.
Sure thing. Good evening, everyone. And I'll echo what Mr. Chevier said. It's always an honor to celebrate all of our students' success. And is a real focus on our students' academic success. But after I speak to them, you'll hear that they do a lot beyond just their academic studies. And it's a testament to really how successful they've been throughout their career at Maple Hill, and we're very much looking forward to what they do in the future. So this is a first for me so far as principal. We have a junior joining us who is graduating a year early and would have ended up in his top 10 class if he graduated next year. So we wanted to include him in the ceremony in addition to our 10 top seniors. So I'm going to start off with Tobiah Geezer. Tobiah is a student who has a tremendously strong character and respect for others and the world around him. He's a kind and genuine presence and has a compassionate global approach to life, reaching out to our school and local community, as well as the global community through his mission trips. For example, traveling to Puerto Rico to help rebuild after Hurricane Maria. His community service, school activities such as Key Club and Cabaret, and athletics, soccer, track, and cross country are just a few things Tobiah does in his spare time. Tobiah has taken an extremely rigorous course load throughout high school, achieving exceptional grades in enriched honors, 4 different advanced placement courses and college courses, and he's graduating a year early. Tobiah plans to pursue a career in architecture, but his first goal as he graduates high school is to travel a little bit. So he'll be traveling and helping do service across the world. And he does plan to take on some internship experiences as well. And during this time, he'll solidify his educational path for when he returns back to America. So Tobiah also has received numerous other awards throughout his school years here at Maple Hill. He has gotten the Rochester Institute of Technology, Innovation, and Creativity Award, the University of Rochester Bosch and Lomb Honorary Science Award, and in 9th grade was recognized as a Rotary Community Service Above Self Student Award winner as well. So Tobiah, congratulations. I'm excited to give you your diploma this year. I am going to ask that all the students jump on and unmute and just share maybe one of their most exciting memories or something they're going to take away from Maple Hill with them. So Tobiah, you want to start us off?
Yeah, thank you for all those kind words. One of my favorite memories, I guess I'll go with, is when I actually first came to Maple Hill, and I came at the end of my 4th grade year, and I remember being like I met my entire class, and we went to recess, and I remember there was actually a line of people like waiting to meet me, and I just felt really welcome here, and that was one of my favorite memories, and still one of my favorite memories from Maple Hill.
That's very nice, Tobiah. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Imagine everybody unmuting and clapping for you. You can see it here from afar. Okay, I'm going to jump onto our top 10 seniors. They are actually in alphabetical order, so not in rank order, so it is random. And I'm going to start off with Nicholas Klickner. Nick has been a dedicated member of the lacrosse team at Maple Hill since its origin, I believe, and is also an extremely talented musician. He participates regularly in jazz band, which is quite the commitment because it starts at, I think, 6:30 in the morning. So it does definitely take some dedication. Last year, Nick was honored with the Triple C Award, which recognized the traits of character, courage, and commitment, which is certainly a fitting tribute for Nick because his post-secondary goals are to enter the Army and serve our country. So we're extremely proud of Nick and the path he's taking, and we will thank you in advance for joining up to serve our country and help protect us all, Nick. Congratulations.
Very much.
Okay, Nick, it's your time to shine, but what's your favorite memory of your time in Skodak?
Probably my favorite memory would just be first year in the middle school, just because it felt like such a jump after so many years in elementary school.
Was Mr. Derby your principal then, Nick?
Yeah.
Congratulations, Nick. Well done. And good luck. Okay, next on my list, I have Mia Fleck. Mia's been a class officer all 4 years of her high school career. She's also played soccer, basketball, and softball, and served as captain for her JV soccer and softball teams as well. She's been a member of Science Olympiad, Key Club, the Mental Health Committee, and Girl Scouts, and earned her Silver Award for Girl Scouts. She was inducted into the National Honor Society and was the recipient of the RIT Computing Medal, the Society of Women Engineers Certificate of Merit, the Wells College 21st Century Leadership Award, the Student Sage Award, and the YMCA Outstanding Student Award, and the Julia O. Wells Nursing Award in her past. We still have graduation. But Mia plans to attend Boston College next year to study nursing. Again, thank you, Mia, for your service, and congratulations. Okay, Mia, you want to share your memory?
So my favorite memory is probably when we won the platoon conference for soccer this year. It was just like an amazing moment with my team. I'll remember it for a long time.
Congratulations, Mia, and our soccer team has gotten a lot of recognition since. I did think about hiring Mia already this year to help in the school, but I couldn't because she's still a student, but I would have her work with those younger kids. All right, next I have Aiden Fletcher. Aiden has participated as a 3-sport athlete in soccer, indoor track, and outdoor track. He is a musician in our jazz band as well and leads his class as president. Aiden is also a member of our Key Club and was nominated for the League of Women's Voters Students Inside Albany Conference. He was awarded the University of Rochester George Eastman Young Leaders Award, the Student Sage Award, the Kiwanis Outstanding Senior Award, and was selected for and inducted into the National Honor Society. Aiden plans to attend the University of Maryland next year to study government and politics. Congratulations, Aiden.
Thank you for your kind words.
Okay.
My favorite memories just from Maple Hill in general is definitely school sports. I'm definitely going to miss the camaraderie and the games and practices with everyone.
We'll miss you too, Aiden. Congratulations. And you're always welcome back. Fall sports weekend is always a big one for our alumni. So we're hoping we'll have that next year and you can come and visit. Okay, our next student, it wasn't able to be here tonight. He's working, but I'm going to read a little bit about Thomas Gorman. Tommy is dually enrolled with us and in the Visual and Performing Arts New Visions program this year. He shares his incredible musical talent as a member of the school band and has performed at Hillstock and with the cabaret. Just fun fact about Tommy, he taught himself instruments, many of them, in the past 4 years of his high school career. He didn't play before that, so it's pretty incredible. Tommy has also been very active on the yearbook committee and is editor of the yearbook this year. He's been a member of GSA and served as co-vice president. He's also co-president of Key Club. He was selected for the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards program and was inducted into the National Honor Society. Additionally, he was awarded the YMCA Outstanding Student Award, the RIT Innovation and Creativity Award, the St. Michael's College Book Award, the Elmira College Key Award, the Kiwanis Outstanding Senior Award, and the Scholarship for Academic Excellence. Tommy is planning to attend Columbia College Chicago and will be studying audio arts. Well done, Tommy. I'm sure he'll get to watch some of this when he's done working. He did share that his favorite memories were really the cabaret and taking part in the different performances. Okay, next up I have Andrew Penn. Andrew has dedicated his extracurricular time to service-oriented organizations. He's been a member of Key Club and GSA. Andrew also volunteers at the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York and completed volunteer training for PAWS, which stands for Pets Are Wonderful Support. Andrew is very mature and reflective and was chosen to serve on the Principal Search Committee. For his outstanding service to others, Andrew was awarded the Kiwanis Citizenship Award. He plans to attend San Diego State University to study anthropology. Very interesting major. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you.
What's your favorite memory, Andrew?
Oh, I don't particularly have one, but I think overall, my memories of having really good relationships with my teachers and them being understanding of me and being supportive really is something I'm going to take with me. It's a good memory, and I think, you know, I really appreciate that. So.
That's very nice, Andrew. I did not mention that Andrew's also an excellent artist as well, and his passion definitely shows through his artwork. So congratulations, Andrew. Okay, next is Kira Price, who I don't think was able to be here today either, but I will read a little bit about Kira. Kira is recognized for her maturity, insightfulness, awareness of issues in the larger world, and her independent thinking. She's very interested in the arts and travel. Outside of academics, Kira has been involved in extracurricular activities such as writing for the school newspaper, playing on the tennis team, and being a member of the bowling team. Kira's independent nature has also allowed her the confidence to work on her own business and maintain an online blog. Kira plans to attend SUNY Oneonta to study communications. And I hear her business is quite successful on Etsy, so well done, Kira. Okay, she was ahead of the game in her marketing class this year. So that's what I heard from her marketing teacher. Okay, next on my list is Diana Pugliese. In her pursuit to have a solid foundation for the future study of architecture, Diana has taken art and architecture courses above her rigorous college prep program and engaged in an internship with an architectural firm this year through our Career Exploration Internship Program. Outside of academics, Diana has played tennis every year of high school. She's also been involved with art club, GSA, ski club, softball, and the recycling club. Additionally, in all her free time, she also holds a part-time job. So Diana plans to attend the University of Buffalo next year to study architecture. Congratulations, Diana.
Thank you. I would say some of my favorite memories from high school were actually very recently the senior trip, like just going to Six Flags and Jiminy Peak with my friends was super fun. And also just the different art classes that I've taken throughout high school with Miss Kerner too, some of my fondest memories.
Also very talented in the arts. Congratulations, Diana. Okay, our next student is Kylie Rollison. Kylie is ranked #1 in her class this year, and she is duly enrolled with us and the New Visions medical program this school year. This program, as well as her volunteer hospital work and volunteer experience with the Castleton Ambulance, will give her a great foundation for her future medical career. Outside of academics, Kylie is a member of the soccer and track teams, has served as vice president for her class and co-president of Key Club, and is an editor of the school yearbook. Kylie has been recognized for her outstanding academic achievements and service with University of Rochester's Bosch and Lomb Honorary Science Award, the Rensselaer Medal, Clarkson's Leadership Award, RIT's Innovation and Creativity Award, the Society of Women Engineers Achievement Award, the YMCA Outstanding Student Award, Kiwanis Outstanding Senior Award, and the Scholarship for Academic Excellence. Kylie is also a member of the National Honor Society at Maple Hill and plans to attend the University of Rochester next year to study neuroscience. Congratulations, Kylie.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go with my favorite memory was probably in 4th and 5th grade, getting to go to the library with Miss Ratner and be like a little Dewey Decimal Helper. And I just was so excited because I would go and just get a new book every time, and she was just great in my learning and reading journey.
I'm sure she would love to hear that, Kylie. Congratulations. Okay, our next student is Davin Sherwood. Davin's hard work and academic talent has not gone unnoticed at Maple Hill. Last year, he was recognized with the University of Rochester's Xerox Award and the RIT Computing Medal. This year, Davin was recommended as a commended student in the National Merit Scholarship Program and earned a scholarship for academic excellence. Outside of academics, Davin has participated in athletics, playing soccer and basketball. He has also played on outside travel basketball teams as well. Davin engages his creative side as a musician, playing in our jazz band. He plans to attend the University of Arizona next year to study wildlife conservation and management. Congratulations, Dav.
Thank you. My favorite memory over high school would definitely be playing basketball, especially this year when we didn't really think we would have a season.
That was very exciting for all of us. Congratulations, Davin. Okay, and the last student I'm going to speak about tonight couldn't be here, Julia Sober. Julia's interests and passions align very well with her plan for her future studies. She puts her goals and interests into action, engaging in a summer internship with U.S. Representative Antonio Delgado's office. Julia was also a founder and co-creator of the high school's morning show. She has played tennis all 4 years of high school and was captain of the team this school year. She has also played softball in the past. Last year, Julia was selected for and inducted into the National Honor Society, and was also recognized with the University of Rochester for Douglas Susan B. Anthony Award, as well as the Clarkson Achievement Award. Julia plans to attend the University of Vermont next year and will be studying political science, which, if you know Julia, is a great path for her. So congratulations, Julia. And just one more big congratulations for all of our seniors and Tobiah. And I can't tell you how excited I am to watch you all walk across that stage and see you get your diploma this year, maybe even more than ever. So congratulations to all of you, and we wish you the best of luck in the future. And don't be strangers.
Thank you, Mrs. Hill. Thank you, students, graduates. Appreciate you taking some of your time this evening and spending it with us. It was good to see your faces. So on behalf of the board, thank you very much for being here.
Before we just want to make sure we give them permission to go ahead and log off. You're more than welcome to stay. We invite Jenna Hoffman to stay, right? Jenna's got to stay, but everyone else can log off. Thank you so much for your time.
I forgot I should let them know that. Huh? So before we leave the recognition section, as Jenna is staying, I'd like to go ahead and recognize Jenna for being the student member to the Board of Education. obviously, I think a very important role. And I'm glad you stepped up and did it this year. You've been great to have around to put in your 2 cents, and you're even going to throw in a couple more cents this evening. So that's great. So on behalf of the board, thank you for your service this year. And I'm sure you'll do great
Thank you
things.
so much.
And congratulations, Jenna. Mr. Tuttle, I'd like to share my screen too. I know Mary had asked for a list of retirees while we're doing recognition. Everybody can see that on my screen. So we have
Yes.
a of retirees. We did have some retirees that are retiring at the end of the school year, and some that had retired once the school year had started. But Laura Cook and Kathy Reed, both teachers down at the elementary school, are retiring. Connie Zobri is a long a TA who has been at CES for many, many years. As you know, Matt LeClaire, Director of Facilities, is retiring, and we have quite a few retirements from our transportation department. Kathy Matrice, Jamie Pulver, Tina Tino, Rick Nussbaum, and Joe Starantino, both mechanics that have already retired this year. And we certainly appreciate the service that Ruth, I think everybody knew Ruth from the elementary school, and she was at CES for many years and really kind of shaped my path for teaching me the ways of Skodak. So we have a lot of respect and wish all of our retirees well in their future endeavors, and we will miss them here in Skodak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move into section 3, which is our reports. We have 3 reports tonight. We've got the claims audit report, we have the student survey, and a COVID update. So at this time, we'll turn it over to Sandy Hall for the claims audit update.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right, I'm just going to go through my annual review of what I do every year and what I have done this year. I'll start with cash disbursements, which involves the multi-fund, capital fund, school lunch, and student activities. I audit all the claims. I check the invoices for accuracy, mathematical corrections, address, make sure they're properly addressed, all the proper approvals, all the proper documentation attached and signed, sales tax exclusion, the appropriateness of all expenditures, and keep track of all the checks to make sure every check is accounted for. For the payroll side of it, every payroll period, I audit approximately 16 employees. I compare their pay with their contracts and timesheets. So their contractual salary, and then if they've done any overtime or anything like that, to make sure that is correct as well. I verify all absences by comparing timesheets with reports from finance manager. I make sure that the time has been charged to the correct employee, the date is correct, the amount of time is correct, and the absence is correct. The type of absence is correct. Once a month, I do the bank reconciliations. I compare the daily receipt logs and treasury receipts to the bank statements. And I review all the transfers and payroll taxes for accuracy and make sure we have all the proper backup information for that. At that same time is when I review and approve the treasurer's report. And then I submit my claims auditor report and my error log to the board. Twice this year, I have audited the petty cash boxes that throughout the district. I verified that the cash in the box and any receipts in the box total the amount that has been allocated to the box. Everything checked out this year, both times that I did it in all 5 boxes. Every year, we also do a payroll verification throughout the district. It's done usually the end of the year, where we have to verify every employee in the district. Typically, it's done that one of the business office members will go to a building, and it's a surprise, and the employees have to come down and sign a sheet so we can verify that they are who they are and they actually exist. Here during COVID, we didn't do that because it was would have been a lot of congregating in the main office and stuff. So I went to the buildings and did a visual audit of all employees. If I saw the employee, if I knew who the employee was, I signed off on them. If I didn't know who they were, as there was a few new employees, I asked them for their ID for proof that they were who they said they are. Janice Clark did assist me with doing that. She did a lot of the bus garage, just so we could get it done in time frame, quick time frame. And then also the last thing was under the direction of the New York State Comptroller's audit that we had a couple years ago. I audited the extracurricular ledgers twice. We didn't have a lot of activity this year because not a lot of the clubs were up and running this year. So I only audited clubs that had any financial activity. When I audited in January, there were 5 clubs, and I audited in May, there were 11. The clubs, the advisor, the treasurers had to submit with signatures their ledgers, and I compared them to the business office records. All ledgers reconciled, everyone was cooperative, and that was completed with no problems this year. And that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Any
Sandy,
questions
just a
from-
curious, Sandy, just a curious question. How long have you been doing this for us?
I believe this is my 10th year.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Sandy? All right, Sandy, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Next up on the list, Jenna.
Hey, I've got your slide deck here. I'm going to display my screen and you just let me know when you want to rotate through the slides, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to present tonight. Last month, I had asked Mr. Tuttle if there was any student feedback that the board would like me to look into. He mentioned feedback from the student body on mental health, what students would like to do, and to hear from seniors on graduation preparations. And obviously, since this was last month and today was a very exciting day that we heard that graduation, we can have as many guests as we want outside. I am so excited, and I know that the rest of my class is too. So some of this stuff, just a warning, is a little bit past dated now that things were changing. But so on May 16th, I created the questions that I thought would be good and sent out a survey to both the 9th through 11th grade and the senior class. Tonight, I would like to share the results I've received with you. I personally did not fill out any of the survey, so all of the results are from other students. Okay, the next slide, please. So it does say 11th through 12th or 7th through 11th grade, but I meant to put 9th grade, so I'm sorry for that. But the first question was, what do you feel you missed out the most in this year? Next slide. So I categorized all of the responses into different groups. So the first group was disconnection with others. And I think it's important that I go through each of the responses that I received, so I'm just going to read through them all. Seeing friends and making memories during lunch, seeing other students, being able to see all of my friends, seeing people, being able to make new friends and talk to new people, seeing all of the friends even when I'm remote, making connections with people in school who aren't in my direct class, being close to friends, being able to connect with people, just socializing honestly, seeing people. Socialization was really strained due to only seeing the same people, but even when you saw them, it was less than usual. Socializing, not being with friends, socializing with others, interaction with peers, spending time with my friends, being social in school, seeing friends that go to school on other days as me, and I didn't get to hang with friends at all this year till prom. Next slide. So the category number 2 was academic learning change / direct teacher contact loss. So again, I'm going to go through them all. Time for individual growth academically, staying after school, group work. I feel I missed out most on gym class. Education in general, I usually don't care if I see anyone, as I can see my friends through the Xbox. It has been a bit harder academically, as there hasn't been as many classes as normal. I feel that I missed out the most on some of the lessons for classes because of the 2-day schedule. After school time, gym, being in school 100%, good and in-depth learning, full in person, actually getting to learn to the best of my ability, valuable in-class time, school, major education, and fully learning important content in classes. Next slide. So the third response group was missed extracurricular activities and opportunities. So full sports seasons and attending other sporting events, after school activities, extra school activities, pep rally, etc., clubs and staying after school, fun school events like pep rally, fun activities such as pep rally dances and going to see games, the school dances, social events, school things like pep rally and spirit week, the cabaret, high school fun, actually being places rather than through a computer screen, everything, fun school events, the events that the school runs, example pep rally, and events like homecoming and pep rally. Okay, next slide. So the next question that I asked was, what do you feel are the biggest mental health issues post-COVID this year? Again, I'm gonna go through, as you see, I got 49 responses, so it's out of the 49. But depression was 53%, feeling lonely, 53%, missing involvement like sports and extracurricular activities was 42.9%, missing involvement in arts in person, so this is your band, chorus, and art classes. This is 38%. Seeing conflict in the home, 16%. Self-harm, 12%. No one to talk to, 36%. Not having a routine, 40%. Drug or alcohol use, 6%. Not feeling confident in oneself, 34%. Social anxiety was the highest with 57%. No support of future planning is 24%. Too much pressure in academics, 44%, and too little schooling with only 2 days a week in person is 40%. Next slide. So now I just want to put like my input into the, again, this is supposed to say 9th through 11th grade, but for the issue with the disconnection that we saw on the slides, I personally think that having events in the fall to rejoin and rebond the class levels together is going to be really important. So automatically start having the picnics, the bonfire, the tailgate, a touch football like they have in middle school, stuff like that, just to get the groups back together. The overall goal, I think, for next year should be to bond all the classes together through all of the results we saw. Back to the in-person clubs that were after school and the after-school activities to raise the school spirit. And as we saw through the feeling lonely or not having people to talk to was a high percentage of the 49 students. I think that establishing a cross-level grade mentor program would be important just so they know that they have other students, not just teachers, but students that are older that are there for them is important. And then the mental health awareness issue that we saw, I think that we had a great assembly on mental health about a month ago. And I know I heard a lot of great feedback about that. And I think that they should definitely continue next year. And out of the 49%, we saw, I think it was 6 in 3 students said self-harm and drugs was an increase. And I think that that should be a focus because out of 49 students, that's actually a lot. So focus on that and maybe in one of the assemblies. The next thing would be every student to have an advisor to check in with. This was just off of what I saw with the percentage of students that felt that they didn't have someone to talk to. So maybe like, I mean, personally, I know I have a lot of teachers that I could go to, but maybe some students don't feel that. So if they have a set person to check with each month, then that would be very good. And then the last thing, I mean, obviously I'm not, and a lot of everybody can't really analyze these results to the fullest. So I think that maybe somebody in the correct field should analyze these to see how to move forward. Okay, next slide. So now the rest of the presentation will be on senior responses. I sent a different survey to just the seniors. I did only get 11 responses, but I think that it's important again to go through what those 11 students felt. So the first one is, how do you feel about the graduation plan? And at this time, obviously the graduation plan was a lot different, but we had 4 students say a 3 out of 5, 4 students say 4 out of 5, and 5 students said 5 out of 5. Next slide. The question number 2 for the seniors is, what do you wish was added to the June events and graduation day? The responses were more people allowed, especially vaccinated. I would like to have the band be able to play, full unrestricted senior trip. It would be nice if more people could come to graduation. At this time, I lost all ability to care of what kind of trips we go on, less requirements and more student involvement. And somebody said, I don't even know what the plan is. But again, obviously the graduation is now going to be allowed to have more people than expected. So I'm sure that these students are going to be very happy. So next slide. The third question is, what are your suggestions / input about graduation? Don't have to wear a mask when getting the diploma, consider allowing more people. It'd be cool to have a slideshow of seniors throughout the school years, make it as normal as possible, unlimited vaccinated attendees. If it is outside, no masks and more people. And then 4 people had no suggestions at that time. So again, I asked them the same questions. These results were a little bit different, but so depression was 27%, feeling lonely was 36%, involvement in sports was 63%, seeing conflict in the home was 9%, well, 1 person, self-harm was 9%, no one to talk to 18%, not having a routine 54%, drug and alcohol use was 0% for the seniors. To not feel confident in oneself is 18%, social anxiety was only 9%, no support of future planning was 18%, too much pressure in academics was 9%, and too little schooling with 2 days a week was 27%. Next. So then the next question was the same as before. What do you feel you missed out the most in this year? So from the seniors, it was having all my classes in person, sports, the large events, a real senior year, everything, senior fun and activities, friendships, a normal senior year, dances, pep rally, seeing fans in sports and having the all-night party, academic involvement, spirit week, homecoming, just being in school every day, and a normal senior year. So this is, again, my personal summary for the seniors. We had a great time at the prom, the senior picnic, the senior trips, the decision day event that we had all within the last 2 months. I mean, I know everybody had a great time. I personally had a wonderful time at them, and I'll always remember that, all those events from my senior year. And I just want to like keep saying thank you to the administration and Ms. Hill and Mr. Chevier and Mr. Bennett and everybody, my class advisors, that we were able to have these events. And I think that was really important. My only suggestion was probably, even though when we first came back in the fall, we weren't really sure, we were just happy to be back the 2 days. But to engage everyone back together was probably something we needed right away. That I think that would have helped with the apathy throughout the year. But to end, I really want to give a big thank you to Ms. Hill. She has been so supportive for our class. She has followed us since 6th grade, through high school, then through COVID. She even attends all of our sporting games and events. She is always happy for our triumphs, and we know how much she cares about each of us. For our senior picnic, she even played a game with us, and I thought that was so much fun at our picnic, and we are so lucky to have her at Maple Hill. I want to give her a personal thank you, and I know that our class wants to give her a thank you as well. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you, Jenna. Appreciate that. Board, is there any questions or comments for Jenna?
I have a comment.
Fire
Jenna,
away.
this was a great survey. Did you have help putting it together?
I personally came up with the questions myself and sent them out.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank you. I think the survey was great. I think it was really good to get the feedback from the students. So I really appreciate this. So I just wanted to say thank you to you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mrs. Hill, obviously you have this. And I think going forward, I know we've only had maybe 3 student reps at this point here, but it seems like as that position evolves, I think these things are great. You know, that's why they're there. They're there to bring the student input to us and let us know. So I think these surveys and then maybe as the years go on, they'll get a little bit more responses. I know sometimes it's hard to get people to come back to you, but I think that'll be interesting for the board in the years coming. So good job, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chevier, COVID. And we got some good news, right? Because most of the graduation questions have been answered.
Great job, Jenna. Thanks so much for putting that together, and thanks for taking the time to present that information tonight. And you know, I want to echo Sherry's comment. It is great hearing from the students' perspective, and there were some great questions, and it kind of solidifies some of the things that we have learned and are anticipating as we come back to school in the fall. We know that there are going to be some significant things that we need to deal with moving forward. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in this presentation tonight. So let me jump into this. As I typically do to start the COVID presentation, the 4 new cases you see here, if you recall last meeting, we put this up on a Friday. We present the following Thursday. The slide deck went up on a Friday, and we had some cases that were reported right after the slide deck went up. So these are the things we had talked about at the last meeting. They just didn't make the data sheet here. So since those cases right at our last meeting, there have been no new cases reported in Schodack. So those were the new cases reported. We want to just talk, and we've done this all along, to talk about our athletics. And again, you see on the left side of the screen the teams that were able to compete this spring. And all teams had a successful spring season. And one of the things that Mike Silver, he did an outstanding job at each and every step of the way. Really not knowing what to expect, really kind of last minute decisions, and then having to plan and make sure that all of our student athletes followed the protocols, worked with our coaches. Our students, obviously, you know, we get recognition for this on occasion. They're great kids. They followed the protocol. They very much appreciated the opportunity to play and compete. And we are really, really happy that all of our sporting teams, with the exception of indoor track, were able to compete this year and have a season. And we're sorry that our indoor track team was not able to have a season. And again, if you remember, they're competing in the winter season. That was at the height of COVID, and we had no facility. No high school team really has a facility. We use college facilities, and they would not let students in to use their college facility. So unfortunately, we weren't able to have a season, but we were very pleased to have Mr. Silver, to his credit, work very hard to make sure that all other teams were able to compete. Sectional competition, all teams except for lacrosse competed in sectionals. Boys track and field were Section 2 champs. Girls track and field, Section 2 runner-up. Our boys tennis played in the sectional final on Tuesday. Sorry about that. Our modified baseball skills development program was very successful. Our modified team did not have enough students to actually field the team and compete against other schools. So Mr. Larkin, who is the coach of modified baseball, much like we did for modified basketball in the winter, he did a skills development program and met with those students 3 days a week. so that students could stay engaged with the sport, and worked hard to make sure that those kids had a good time as well. It really doesn't replace competing in games and putting the jersey on for the school, but still we wanted to keep the students engaged in activity and keep them connected to the sport that they love. So we very much appreciate Mr. Larkin's time to run that skill development program. And again, student athletes were just tremendous in following the protocols throughout the season. And I remember having a conversation with Mr. Silver, you know, once we get a season up and running, we want to make sure that students have the opportunity to finish regardless of the season, fall, winter, and spring, due to their commitment and following those protocols. Very little disruption to any of our teams in competition. So very proud of all of our student athletes and Mr. Silver for working very hard this year. I'm going to kind of gloss over this. At the time, this was kind of big news. If you remember the letter from Dr. Zucker that was released on a Friday afternoon, that was released to the media. And Friday afternoon, we started to receive emails and questions about how school would look on Monday. That was that letter, if you recall, it was a letter to from Dr. Zucker to the CDC, really looking for a CDC's response to that, to see if there was any research out there that indicated that we should not, the state shouldn't make the move to reduce mask restrictions at schools. Created quite a stir, really kind of stirred up some. It's a strong emotional issue being dropped on schools late on a Friday afternoon. Was I will tell you, I thought it was disgusting. I will say that very openly. We spent the weekend trying to seek additional guidance so that we could communicate with our school communities, plan and prepare. And was really unfortunate. Again, it stirred the pot with a very emotional issue at school. I will share Questar 3 has been outstanding throughout this pandemic, and we have met as a superintendent group with all the component districts of Questar 3. Dr. Cruz was able to pull a meeting together Sunday morning. We had some conversation, and while we were meeting, the Commissioner Rosa put out a mandate that there would be no change indoors for the duration of the school year through state ed, which gave us some additional guidance. Monday, the governor came on the TV and he stated that he was lifting the mask requirements outdoors. And then late Monday evening, that's when we received guidance. School leaders really had no idea that that announcement was coming. We were not clued in whatsoever. And it, you know, we really started dealing with some individual parents that are really passionate about this. And we also hear from the other side, you know, there are concerns with lessening of restrictions. And we deal with folks that have a variety of feelings all across that spectrum. On Tuesday, after that guidance came out, I did receive some emails. Folks were wondering when we were going to announce what was happening. As we have done all along, we certainly, you know, and I think the board has a pretty good indication of this. It's really, you know, we are primarily here for students. It's all about our students and our parents, but we also employ quite a few people. And so all along we have had to have concerns and have been very mindful of our employees' health and safety. And I had arranged for meeting with leadership and building leadership and union leadership so that we could talk about any changes that would be forthcoming from the school. And they were here teaching during the day, so we had to wait until after school before we could schedule that meeting. So, as that issue was broached, as Jenna has mentioned, some new guidance came out yesterday afternoon for graduation, and I had this in my district update, but I'll speak to it now. Graduation guidance came out that was in alignment with the governor's lessening of restrictions. And so essentially, we have talked at the board level that guidance from the New York State Department of Health has been our guiding force through all of this. And if we don't follow the guidance, then we really are kind of leading with emotion and with our hearts here as we do some of these things. And if we find ourselves in a situation where we do have to follow guidance, we want to make sure we can fall back on this pandemic, and really talk about how we stuck together with the guidance. We erred on the side of safety and caution, and we listened to our public health officials. And New York State Department of Health is our guiding authority. Yes, at times we have leaned on our local health department leaders, and Rensselaer County has, as you know, we've met with them and they've been a tremendous support throughout this pandemic and have demonstrated great leadership as well. But New York State Department of Health is really our guiding force in making decisions at the school level. Information was released yesterday that really was in alignment with the governor's lessening of restrictions. Outdoor events, the guidance we were following, we had to remain under 500 in total attendance. If we hopped over that 500 mark, we would need to check proof of vaccination, or folks would have to show results of a negative COVID test within 48 hours of the event. So we limited attendance to graduation, and that's what we moved forward with, was staying under 500, so we would not need to check and check on proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. Makes it very easy. It's a lot easier to plan logistically. It was much easier to plan for, and we made a decision to move forward with that. And we had talked about, mask wearing at graduation, and we had gotten to a point where we would ask people to wear a mask when they are intermingling and walking about, but once they took their seats, they could remove their masks. The guidance that came out yesterday really gave schools the option to remove all of those restrictions. There are no restrictions for graduation. The only exception really is for unvaccinated individuals. So unvaccinated individuals should follow the CDC guidance and still remain masked, especially when moving about, even when outdoors. The indoor limit, we were really follows the same guidelines, 500, but we had social distancing guidelines along with that requirement. With the lessening of social distancing, both indoors and outdoors, we could reconsider the number of invited guests per graduate for indoor ceremony. At this point in time, we would, in a traditional year, if we get bad weather and we're able to, we need to move the graduation indoors, we would obviously have to restrict attendance. So we will have to do that. We still have to maintain fire code and to do those things. And but we're able to up the number of attendees for indoor events. So at this time, we've communicated with our seniors and our senior families that if graduation is held outdoors, please invite your extended family, your grandmas and grandpas, or aunts and uncles, people that are close to you. There is no social distancing guidelines. Mask restrictions essentially are lifted for anyone who is vaccinated. Again, the only requirement, and it is on the honor system because we aren't checking who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated, but we are encouraging anybody who is not vaccinated that they should continue to wear a mask for graduation. One of the things that Ms. Hill and I have spent some time talking about, even with the stage setup, last year we had our graduates 6 feet apart, and there's no restriction to do that this year. So it's very much going to look like a traditional graduation ceremony. We have made the decision to do that. We feel our seniors deserve it. We feel their families deserve it. We feel we can do it safely and successfully. We are adhering to the guidelines. I think most of my colleagues in the Quest R3 BOCES are going to make every effort to try to do that as well. It really puts a strain and a challenge on all of the graduation being a week out, really trying to make some changes for us. It's a little bit easier of a lift. We can pivot much easier, as opposed to a school the size of Columbia or Averill Park. It's just not as easy for them to now a week out try to deal with increased seating capacity, parking, things that they had not planned for. And so you're probably going to hear that some disappointment from, some school communities from across the region who just aren't able in a week's time to really accommodate individuals. But we are able to do that, and I feel we owe it to our kids and our families to do it. But I have a great deal of empathy for my colleagues who are not able to pull that off in a week's time. So very happy to make that announcement that came out yesterday evening, and Jackie and I met today, and Jackie, we worked together on a letter, and that went out to our parents and our seniors today. So I will tell you, James is going to talk about in his building update, he's going to talk a little bit about field day. So James, I promise not to steal your thunder on that, but I will tell you, it has been extremely well received by parents who have attended those events, and we know how much it means to families to come together for this special event next Friday. It meant a ton to parents to be at CES watching field day. And it really, as I sit here and tell you, I kind of get goosebumps. Folks really, really appreciated the opportunity to come back to our school community. So I do believe it's the right decision to do. We obviously want to do it safely, and we have the guidance to do it. So we're very much looking forward to Friday. When we talk about the end of the year events, we have a couple of end of the year events that are left to go through, and a couple of notable ones. The CES walkthrough will take place on June 23rd. Our seniors will go down to CES, which has been a tradition that we've started the last couple of years. Weather permitting, that'll be done outside, and our elementary students will line the sidewalk, and our seniors will walk around outside, getting a chance to see their previous elementary school teachers and let our elementary students give them a nice send-off. And then obviously our culminating event will be June 25th at 5 o'clock with graduation. The parade announcement is on our website. We've got it on signs, so please tell your friends and neighbors all about the parade. Encourage people to come out and attend. It was an awesome event last year. It's only awesome if we get our community to come out and support our seniors, and have them bring out their lawn chairs and honk their horns and wave to our seniors. It's a great way to pull our community together. So we'll be doing that again this year. Mr. Derby is going to tell you all about field day, I'm sure, coming up, so I'm not going to spend any time on that. We do have 6th grade celebration and a 6th grade moving up ceremony planned for June 24th, and Mr. Derby and crew are working hard on a monthly morning assembly. and I'm sure he can tell you a little bit more about that. Last board meeting, we talked a little bit about community engagement on reopening forums and stimulus money. I need to combine both of these things. We need to get feedback from our community, engage our community stakeholders in not only our fall reopening plan, but the spending of stimulus money. I postponed our community forum #1, which was scheduled for June 9th. It's going to be next week. We did find out that our stimulus allocation is going to be recalculated and schools are likely to get more money. So even the money that you'll see listed on the next slide, we're likely to get even more through stimulus. And so we kind of put that off. We're really kind of engaging. We've engaged the community in a survey and also our internal, our faculty and staff. And as an administrative group, we've been talking a little bit about this. So as we formulate ideas, and we'll use the survey data to help guide this discussion. We just needed a little more time and those updated numbers. So community forum 2, 3, and 4 did not change, but I wanted to make the board aware of that. And when we talk about stimulus spending, as you know, we are looking at approximately $1.9 million. Again, I had just mentioned a survey was launched to the school community. I looked today, we've got about just shy of 200 responses from community members. So another outstanding response rate from our community, which will really give us some good idea of what the community feels are the priorities that this money should be allocated for. Again, we launched a survey to faculty and staff regarding ideas to address learning loss caused by the pandemic, and we want to put our best thinking forward and really engage our professionals in the classroom to offer some insight and ideas as to what they feel would be most appropriate to address learning loss. As an administrative group, we've been talking about this for some time. But we don't have all the answers. We want to engage and listen to our community and engage our faculty and staff to hear their ideas as well. Information will be compiled and prioritized to help shape the plan. And as we discuss with the community, the plan will be posted by regulation on the district website so that everyone will have access to the plan. Here's a couple of items. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of these categories, but just to kind of give you an idea of what we are mulling and are talking about, how to address academic learning gaps. And you can see there is an extensive list of some ideas that are listed here and some populations of students that might require a more intensive intervention to address learning gaps. And to recognize some of the needs we have. You know, obviously, I think we could argue that all students K-12 experience some type of learning loss, whether you are, you know, a struggling student or one of the most high achieving. This year has been very challenging, and I think everybody has probably, I think we can say without the data to back it up, that most of our students have probably suffered some type of learning loss. So we are kind of assessing our needs, really gathering input and listening to all of our stakeholders before we make any decisions regarding programs during academic learning loss, with the exception of summer programs. You know, we're going to have a summer program that will be extended. Obviously, we can't invite all of our students back, so building teams have been working hard at looking at criteria for who would qualify for summer programs and try to get our students in. Ichabod Crane continues to be a good partner at the secondary level. Year in and year out, probably the last 2-3 years, we have partnered with Ichabod Crane on providing summer school services for our secondary students. We are partnering with them once again, and they have a new opportunity for some enrichment programs that we are they have invited some of our students to take part in at Ichabod Crane as well. So building those partnerships in the past, we're relying on those partnerships again to continue to provide opportunities for our students. When we talk about wraparound services, Jenna really hit the nail on the head, really talking about mental health related issues and social emotional wellness. That is going to be a significant topic that we are really going to have to pay attention to. And we have talked about the potential of some additional staffing as it relates to some services around social emotional learning and mental health, and how we best leverage our own people that really know our students and our community well to help us really have a focused, concerted effort on social emotional learning and mental health. In addition, we're in collaboration with Rensselaer County Department of Mental Health. It's my hope that next year we would have a satellite office for a counselor to be on site that works for the county, to be located in the junior senior high school, that not only could support students, but could also support families at a remote site at our high school. So we have some things in the works, and we are continuing to talk about some of those services. Obviously, technology plays a huge part. We understand how technology was leveraged throughout the pandemic, and we need to have a focus on connectivity, remote learning. Had some conversation again with the county executive about potentially partnering to work at leveraging some stimulus money to bring broadband internet to remote areas. And we do know we have some areas that still do not have access to broadband internet services here in our community. So those conversations are happening, and we're taking a look at how we can leverage some of this stimulus money to potentially help with issues regarding technology. A couple of other pieces, I'm almost done with this presentation, but professional development. Obviously, a great use of stimulus money is to invest in your own people and really have some focused professional development that will allow our faculty and staff to really have, again, a focused, concerted effort around building and district initiatives to really leverage the power of some of our software programs to get the most out of them, to really inform teaching and learning, and how we invest in our folks. When the stimulus money runs out, that training will remain with our faculty and staff, and we really we want that to be here. Again, one of the things we have talked about is if we continue to focus on hiring a lot of individuals with the stimulus money, when that stimulus money goes away, the general budget will not support, likely it's not going to be able to support all of those positions. So we want to be very thoughtful. When we look at teacher leaders and opportunities for our teachers to be engaged in leadership opportunities, we are certainly exploring that as an option as well. Facilities, qualifying use of funds is HVAC systems in schools, and you can potentially look at long-range planning, capital reserve type use of that money. That money, as you know, about half of that stimulus money we need to really focus on learning loss due to the pandemic. And so there is an opportunity to take a look at some ventilation system and utilize that for your facilities. And then again, COVID expenses, any additional time for cleaning, education, PPE, et cetera, can be used as well. So I wanted the board to have a sense of some of the things that we are really exploring and looking at for use of that stimulus money. And again, it takes a little time, but we are engaging all of our stakeholders to help shape and prepare this plan. So stay tuned, more to come on stimulus spending. The last piece that I want to mention to you, I'm sure you've heard this. I know I've mentioned it to you before. I will tell you, with all the changes and where we are, we can only do so much. My focus hasn't been on universal preschool grant, but it hasn't fallen off the radar. SCODAC has received funding for 20 seats for universal pre-K. What does that mean? There's really two options that the district can pursue. The district can develop their own program, or you can partner with a local established pre-K provider and work with them for the development of your UPK program. So, there's pros and cons to both. We do have an in-district pre-K provider, Story Place Preschool, located right here in the district office, who has approached me and is very interested in partnering with the school district. I will tell you, in talking with Mr. Derby and examining the space down at the elementary school, we're very, very tight on space. Believe it or not, I know when we had shut down the middle school and brought sixth grade down, we were really looking at capacity limits down at the elementary school. We're very jammed for space down there. I am really leaning towards partnering with Story Place. There's, again, a couple of benefits from that. Story Place is kind of, they're the leading expert currently. Our focus of our program has been K-12. We haven't really leapt into the pool for pre-K program. Any staff that is hired would be hired by Story Place preschool, but I would work closely with them along with the elementary principal to make sure that the UPK guidelines are being met. Kids are ready to enter kindergarten following district standards and expectations. And so there would be a collaborative effort on our part. They wouldn't just funding. And what that would mean is 20 of our students would go to potentially to Story Place preschool tuition free. So they wouldn't have to pay tuition to go to pre-K. We could leverage that money and get 20 of those students ready for pre-K. We probably can do that much faster than developing our own program, researching it, the paperwork, hiring the staff, ordering the furniture, and getting a room ready. So we're not quite there yet, but I wanted the board to just kind of be aware of the conversations that we are having with Story Place. And we will come back and do a formal presentation to the board to really kind of help make that decision. A lot of information. Questions?
Mary.
Go ahead, Mary.
The Story Place, don't they have capacity limits already?
Story Place, yes, they do. But if they partnered with us, they've got that number of kids in their program currently that would attend SCODAC schools. So if they partnered with us, they have to guarantee 20 seats to SCODAC Central School District kids. So when they enroll students, essentially our kids would get first dibs on enrollment into their program. And then whatever seats they would have left, they would be able to offer those seats out to students, SCODAC students.
But aren't they also a provider for students who have needs, special needs?
Yep,
as
they
well?
they run both programs. They run a regular pre-K program and also do a special ed program.
Okay. We wouldn't want to take away from either one. I just, being fair.
Yeah, it's a valid concern, and Michelle Rose approached me, very interested, and again, she does feel we have that number of students currently in the program, and they're paying tuition. Their parents are paying tuition to be in that program, so this would essentially allow 20 seats to be tuition free in that program. So instead of it would save parents, our taxpayers, some money in that program.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Comments? I'm glad to see we opened up graduation. That's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's really excellent.
Okay. So if there's no questions for Mr. Chevier, then let's go ahead and move into our first public comment section. I sent a chat message out there to see if anybody wanted to address the board. I didn't get anything back. And just looking through the attendee list, I don't see any hands. So if anybody's on via phone, *6, *3. Give it a couple seconds here. Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment and we'll move into board discussion. So we have board discussion and action item. We'll start with board discussion.
I have
Is
two
there any-
things.
Please go ahead, Mary.
Okay. I think I mentioned it in our agenda meeting, but did we get any update on the after school program advertisement? It was not poorly communicated, I thought. So I wondered if there's more detail out there. I haven't seen it. I've been looking.
Sorry, Mary, I had to find the mute key real quick. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update. We're transitioning communication people at the moment.
Okay.
We will work on that communication and make sure that that gets out there. An updated blast on the after school program through the partnership with the Y. We will absolutely do that. It's on the radar. It'll be forthcoming.
Yeah, because parents are going to be wanting to get that information. The two big questions I saw, and there were only a few parents that had responded, was, are they transporting the students to the Y? And that's not clear. And the fact that we're going to transport the students back up to the middle school and the Y is coming to our premise to do this program. So I just want to make sure that that gets out there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Parents are planning for the fall and they have to go to work and they have to, I just went and spent my first day in the office today and I'm sitting here going, oh, this is so weird, but okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. That'll get out.
Okay. Thank you very much. May I ask who we're transitioning? How we're where we're transitioning?
Yep. We, as you know, we buy into the communication service with Questar 3. Brian Radowitz, you remember we had Jason McCord. Brian Radowitz came in at the beginning of the pandemic. He currently has a share with Averill Park and Skodak, 3 days a week in Averill Park. Averill Park wants more of his time. They bought additional days of service. So he's going to be going over to Averill Park and we're transitioning to a new communication specialist. Aaron Bogert, who will be joining us July 1st. I met with Dan and Brian and Aaron this week. We talked about his transition into communications. It's actually a very good meeting. We were fortunate to have Jason McCord for quite a few years and had some stability there. Unfortunately, with a 2-day-a-week buy-in to that service, I'm finding that if other districts are buying in more to that service and time, we might see additional transition there. So we're reevaluating that currently and having some discussion about communication service.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take that off my board update.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know. That wasn't the second thing. Mr. Gandinetti left the room. So, okay. Well, I just wanted to talk to the elephant in the room today. We have 3 board members who are leaving us today, or this might be their last meeting unless we have to have an emergency one. And I just wanted to recognize that. The board experience is about 28 years. We're losing a lot of experience on this board. Mr. Charsky, who is with us today, was appointed by the board after a resignation of a board seat. And since then, and that was in 2011, and since then he has also been elected 3 times. He served as a vice president to Mr. Heiser, and I can tell you that I've known him for longer than he's been a board member, but I can tell you he's fond of numbers and that he likes to challenge every number. So I just wanted to get that in there.
On the record.
Yeah, on the record. Yes. Okay. Mr. Michael Heiser. This one's hard for me. From 2009, he's been elected 4 terms as a board member, served as a vice president to Mr. Fleck, and president during a time when we had our own challenges as a district because of Mr. Horan's loss. He studied the ship. He really did. That and in concert with Mr. Bordick. Mr. Heiser is often the voice of conscience and reason, thoughtfulness, and in discussion, and I really appreciate that. Mr. Tuttle, you've been on this board only 6 years, but you've certainly had an impact. And you served as vice president and most recently as president, and as a principal in your own private service business. You're very organized, forward-thinking, practical, and you always seek input from everybody. So I appreciate that. So on behalf of the board, the school community, and wider community, I wanted to thank each of you for your commitment, your service, and wisdom. We wish you well in your future endeavors, whether that's achieving your bucket list or revitalizing your business. Each of you has contributed to the betterment of this district and the community, and your contributions will be missed. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Very appreciative.
Thank you, Mary. Very, very kind of you. Appreciate it.
So I was going to Mr. Heiser as it is his last meeting, and he is the ranking senior member. If obviously give you opportunity if there's anything that you'd like to say, certainly our time is your time.
Yeah, I haven't really thought up anything clever to say, Mike. I do want to thank
That's
you.
all right.
You've done a terrific job as president, and I echo everything Mary has said. And it's been great to be on the board. And I've developed some good friendships, and we've lost some good people in the last few years with tremendous experience in the community and on the board. And I know the rest of the folks on the board, led by the administration, are going to do a great job. And all of the rest of us in the community will be watching, and we will be pitching in when you ask us. So thanks very much.
Great. Thank you, Mike. And I'm going to echo Mary and say that, yes, I look to and gone to Mr. Heiser often because he's got a sharp mind, and he can always put things into perspective for me because I sometimes don't always see everything in all the different ways. So I want to thank Mike for his service. It's been great, but we've got new people coming on, and I think that's always good. Fresh blood is always good. So for myself, I'd like to thank Mr. Chevier and his entire administrative staff. You guys have done a great job since I've been on, especially this last 15 or so months. been asked to do all kinds of things that are not in your job description and you weren't ready to do. And you guys have all stepped up and done it, to include, you know, Jill sitting in tonight. It's just how we do things, and that's been great. Same with the faculty and the staff. I was talking to the new members, and I know 3 of them are on now, and I was telling them that the one thing I found going to the NYSBA class that's supposed to teach you, you know, kind of what to expect, is that we definitely do things a little bit different here. We don't have the drama that goes on, and I think that is just because we have 9 members who listen to each other and aren't afraid to see things a different way, or hear it a different way, or understand why it's important to somebody differently than it is to them, and then in the end just decide whether it's what is best for the majority of the children, and if you go that route, I don't think you can be wrong. So thank you to everybody. Thanks to everybody who served on the board with me that is no longer on the board. Welcome to the new people that are coming in. It will be a ride for sure. So enjoy. And as Mr. Heiser said, I know he will be watching in the wings. I will be watching in the wings. I'm sure we might even chime in a couple times just because we can. So, okay. One piece of, I do have something for the board, the retreat. You guys got the retreat coming up over the summer. One of the things I think is important to spend the first part of the retreat on is going over board procedures. You've got 3 new members coming on board. You got a relatively young, I mean in time served, as far as on the board. So just going over board procedures, how the board communicates with each other, how the board communicates with the superintendent and the administrators, and how the board communicates with the public. All that's important, and if you can get in sync, it makes things easier. So there is an option to bring, NYSBA does do a custom board retreat. Mary and I talked to Mr. Chevier about that, looking into it. There is an expense on it, is I think the 4-hour class is like $1,000. They will customize it for you if you want to hear about certain things. Mary also looked up, and I sent out a link to everybody. Questar has videos that you can watch. Paul Puccio had a hand in doing that. Also hits a lot of these topics as well. And so it's something that you need to think about, and let Mr. Chevier know what you want to do in the retreat. Do you want to bring NYSBA in? Do you want to just talk about it amongst yourselves? It's not, I don't think it's that difficult, but we in the past have just talked about it amongst ourselves and kind of come to a general consensus of how we wanted to handle those things. It seemed to have worked with us, but again, there was a lot of experience on the board as well. So I just want to throw that out to you to think about for July's meeting, and get back to me if you want, at least until the end of the month. And if you want to have the NYSBA thing, then we need to get that set up. And so that's going to need some lead time. If the feeling is you could go on your own, then you can just do it at the retreat. So if you feel one way or another about it, just hit me, send an email to Mary and I, and we'll get that sorted out. Any discussion or comments about that part?
Mike, I would say save the $1,000 and let Jason facilitate it.
Okay.
This is Sherry. I agree with Dan. I think that it would be better for us to discuss and have more time for discussion amongst ourselves if we didn't have someone facilitating it.
Fair enough. Anybody else? Personally, I think you guys can do it. I mean, I'm looking at 6 of you right now, actually 5, because Mike won't be there. And everyone's reasonable on this board. I think you'd be able to, easily come up with some a consensus. So we've been doing it a certain way for a while, and it seems to work. Okay, anybody feels any different, let me know. Let's see. The last thing I'd like to say before we leave board discussion is, personally, I'm disappointed Shelley's not here this evening. I did want to give her a special thank you. The last 2 years as the board president, she's helped me in every way to be prepared to do what I do at the meetings. Otherwise, I would not be able to do it. Even, just going out and looking things up for me. She's been a great go-to, and I appreciate all the time. And sometimes it was even, especially with COVID, it was after hours. It was some weekends if I had things to sign and this, that, and the other. She just gave her time, and I'm just very appreciative of her help. So I wanted to publicly recognize that. So thank you, Shelley. Okay, next up is action items. We have the community group. So we've tabled that. We'll revisit in October. We have a better idea of how things are going to go. And I think we're starting to get that idea now. So if things don't change, we should be there. Summer retreat topics again, tenure process, Canvas demonstration, BOE procedures. Those are the 3 of the topics on there. You guys want to start thinking about that. The enrollment study, Mary and I talked to Mr. Chevier about that. That was, I think the last one we did, 2024, I believe is what it goes to. So you're right about that time where you might want to start looking at that again. There is a cost that goes with that, but they will do a projection out for the next 10 years so that you have an idea of what we're looking at in this area as far as enrollment's concerned. You do have a low kindergarten class coming in, which doesn't seem to quite go with, Amazon being here and some others. So it might be a good time to spend the dollars to figure that out and get a better grasp on what's going on. So that could be a retreat topic as well for you guys to mull over. Debt retirement, Mr. Chevier or Brian, you want to take that?
Yep, that's gonna be part of an upcoming presentation. Brian, you want to just explain when that's happening?
Sure, we're looking to do that in August, at the August board meeting when we have synthesis come in. We'll also have the fiscal advisors come in, our financial group to talk through that debt retirement, the capital project, the tax cap implications, and then utilizing funds outside of those debt retirement, kind of an overall financial picture for capital projects.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Just hold 1 second. Mike Charsky he says he's in, but does anybody see him? I don't see him.
On the attendee list, he's Mike. I think you have to elevate him to panelist.
I'll make him a panelist, Mike.
Can you do it?
Yep, I think I just did.
I guess you can do it because you did.
Looks like it.
I didn't realize you had to keep refreshing that attendee list because I did not see him. Mike, you're in, but we don't see the video. If you hear us, there you are. I'm gonna stop action items for a second. And Mr. Charsky's been on this board for quite some time, and so I definitely want to give him an opportunity to say whatever he would like to say before he departs.
I appreciate all that you've all said. It's been quite a run. I remember the first board meeting, and I was definitely overwhelmed by all the things that we were talking about. I remember our first organizational meeting, we were trying to decide if we were STEM, STEAM, if we were going to be a mathematics academy, and Bruce was up there on the whiteboard writing all these things down. And it's been a long ride from the Ichabod Crane Maple Hill merger study to, I still want that track, guys. I've had a blast. I really had a blast. It's been fun. Regardless of some of the demeanor I've had, I've enjoyed teasing and working with all of you, and I definitely will miss it. And like you two have said, don't worry, I'll be hanging around. But I do want to thank everyone for the opportunity. It's been a heck of a 10 years.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. Okay, back to action item follow-up, insurance coverage on the roof or the gymnasium.
Yep, still waiting to hear back from the engineer. He came out, took a look at the roof, took some samples. We are waiting for his final report back. No word yet. We're hoping to have it by our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And our plot of land.
Yeah, so our plot of land, we're gonna move forward with a couple of different things on that. The plot of land, we have a couple of Girl Scouts that have approached us about doing a kind of a cleanup and doing a community service project, helping their school out. We walked the site with the girls and their parents. And once school's out, we're gonna be coordinating a day where school staff and the Girl Scouts and some volunteers get together and clear out that area, make it look much more presentable, and get it so that it really looks presentable. In addition, we're going to have the Girl Scouts that are obviously our students that will come and do before and after and do a report back to the board on their community service project. So it'd be a great experience for the girls as well. So we will keep you posted on that. In addition, the board has asked to kind of pursue some options in terms of that portion of land, and we have reached out to Wyman Osterman and Hannah, and we are in some discussion currently right now at taking a look at that property. We do have the ability to sell that piece of land if that's an option that the board wants to go down. First, we would have to verify title to the parcel. I know we had talked about that before. We had a blueprint that shows we own those parcels. They still recommend doing a title search to make sure that that parcel does in fact belong to us. If we do find out that the parcel does belong to us, which we do believe that that one does, the board can make a finding that the property is indeed no longer needed by the district. And then the board would have to go through a process to demonstrate that the district is getting appropriate compensation for the property. Just kind of a very general, a couple of the steps that we would need to take before we make some decisions to sell that. There's still some legwork to do. And if the board is interested in doing that, it does look like you'll have the opportunity to make that decision whether or not you want to hold on to that piece of property. But for now, I think just understand that that's an option. We're going to be working with WOH, and we'll come back to you with kind of a more specific plan and some action steps in terms of decisions that need to be done. So that is in fact something that the board could do if you so choose to go down that direction. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Chevier on that?
Mr. Chevier, aren't there limited options as to who we could sell it to, though?
Yeah, she didn't get into that for now. She is researching that. She's also Beth is out of town, so I'm working with someone else from the office. So she was going to go back to see if there was a file from when Bob Horan was inquiring about selling that. So we're just waiting to kind of reconnect on that. She's doing some legwork in the office. Beth should be returning next week, and we'll kind of circle the wagons on that and keep you posted. But there's definitely some more legwork, and my understanding was there was some restrictions, but she didn't get into that in her communication with me. So we'll dive into that once we get back together.
Okay, and one more thing. Carrie is on here, and I wanted to say good luck. And because it's appropriate for board discussion, and do your best. You will be good. You'll be great.
Okay. So many goodbyes today.
That's terrible.
No.
The life changes, you know.
We're going to get to more goodbyes later on, and some hellos. So we'll end on a good note. All right, let's go into district and building updates. So we've got district updates.
Sure, I'll try to speed this along. Just the other day, I want to just give a shout out to Miss Hill, and you know, she helped organize a ceremony to remember Jasleen. I know you probably saw a posting that went out. It was a beautiful ceremony, very moving. I will tell you, it's Jasleen passed away in January, and you know, time kind of heals a little bit, but when you get back together and you start talking about it, it really it was good to have everyone together. Jasleen's mom and some of her friends came to the ceremony. We had our students outside. We planted a magnolia tree, and there's a memorial stone there with her name and a quote from a piece of her writing regarding kindness. And it's just a beautiful tribute. One of her friends got up and spoke, and incredibly moving and powerful, and a great message for our students to hear. We had two teachers, our English as a second language, Mrs. Race, not Patty Race, it's a different Mrs. Race, and Mrs. Fink, who is one of our English teachers, and Miss Hill all spoke and just did a tremendously great job, fitting tribute to Jasleen. And we're glad that that magnolia tree is there in that memorial stone, and it'll be a great way to remember her. And when it blooms, the flower will be appropriately fitting to Jasleen. For any of you that knew her, it will be very, very appropriate. So kudos to you, Miss Hill and crew. In-person BOE meetings. I know this isn't a decision that we need to make tonight. Guidance, as restrictions lessen, we are looking at opportunities to bring the board back together to have some conversation and to conduct meetings. One of the things that I will tell you, I'm just going to say very openly, is not super efficient, is to have your computer streaming in front of you while we are in person for meetings. That is very clunky and does not work well. So we are exploring options for remote video setup, which we don't have the capability of doing that right now. So we're going to have to look into a system that would allow us to stream our board meetings. Even tonight, you know, we've got 12 attendees online. We've seen it's one of these after effects of COVID that we won't be without. We've got to figure out a way to stream board meetings and make it available to our public that way. So some of the systems that we're looking into require some installation of some equipment. So just as for the board's knowledge, we typically have met in the high school library. I think we're probably going to look to set up a boardroom in the district office. A couple of the classrooms, you can move the wall in between and have two classrooms of space here that we might be able to set up and leave as a dedicated setup to a boardroom. We're exploring that option. Obviously, we would want some signage, and any of the members of the public that would come here for and come to that room for board meetings. But it makes it a little bit easier to have a location that we can leave set up for meetings, and especially if we're going to install some video streaming equipment and audio, some things that will help get our message out to the public, we're going to have to find a location that we can do that without a lot of take up and set up and takedown. So I'm just kind of informing the board. We're kind of looking at as an option, and we're going to try to make sure we get that moving forward as quickly as possible, so that when we transition to in person, we can try to do that efficiently.
Mr. Chevy, I know we had talked about possible drop mics and things, but I would check with the board. Just seems like hot mics could be an issue if left open. So, you know, maybe a mic that you can either hold down and turn on or turn off or something like that. Just a thought.
Yeah, and we're exploring a couple of different systems. We're trying to do our research and our homework on what other folks use and what works well. And but what we do know is we don't want to pack all that up after every board meeting, put it away, lug it back out, set it back up. It increases the chance that it's going to break and not work appropriately. So we're looking at trying to find a location so that when we do make an investment in some of that equipment, that we can leave it set up for the most part and have it function appropriately when the time is needed. So stay tuned. I'll keep you posted on that. Any feedback or any knowledge? I know, Chuck, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you were intimately involved in the setup of the town's board meetings and the town hall stream. We're looking at that system and a couple of other systems as well. So trying to figure out what works well there. Facility update. I just, I want to talk with all of you. We've continued our discussion with Synthesis and facilities. I have talked with Mike and Mary. Synthesis, we met with them and they have encouraged us when we talk about the pricing of all of those priorities. When we talk with Jim Graham, the environment is so volatile at the moment. Synthesis can give us a lot of good pricing information on the design side, but they really encouraged us to engage the professional services of Turner. We had a great experience with Turner and Synthesis in the district. All worked very well on that high school project. That went very smooth. We've got a great relationship with them. It was suggested to set up a meeting with Turner to see if we could engage them in their professional services to help with, we're going to call this pre-referendum work, right? We haven't made a decision whether we want to go to vote on a project, but there is work that needs to be done in order for us to make the good decision whether or not we want to go to vote. So when we talk about this pre-referendum work, even with the engagement of Synthesis and Turner on the construction side, what we are asking the board later on in the agenda, we're going to ask for you to approve engaging Turner and Synthesis in pre-referendum work. Obviously, they don't work for free, and we know that there will be some expense, but they're going to give us their professional opinion, both on the design side and on the construction side, give us a more accurate depiction of the cost estimates of all of those things to help give us the most accurate information to make an informed decision on whether or not we want to move forward with a vote or not. So I feel very comfortable. I had a great experience working with both Synthesis and Turner, and those relationships still exist, and feel very comfortable that we will be able to leverage both of them to give us their we know we're going to get quality work out of both of them. So a little bit later on, you will see that on the agenda to approve work pre-referendum. And I wanted you to be aware that that is the conversation, but that's the work that needs to be done to get the price estimates to prioritize what would happen in a project, which is not uncommon. And that is what we did in the much larger project as well. Again, I was going to give you an update on the gym roof, but we already talked about Utica National as well. So any questions on that before I move on to the next topic? Okay, just a heads up, Christopher Gardner is in week 2. He started last Monday. He has been working closely with Matt LeClaire. As you know, he's got 3 weeks with Matt. He has been, the first week he shadowed Matt. this week. Matt is shadowing him. And next week, Chris is kind of on his own with Matt, kind of folding into the shadows. And so he is going to be there as a support next week, but we are real happy to have Christopher here. He's transitioning very well. He has not only been introduced at our admin team meeting and welcome, but he has been all across the district meeting as many faculty and staff as he can. He has met our grounds crew. Matt has introduced him to some of our neighbors that are in touch with Matt that live close to the district. So Matt is doing a great job at helping him get oriented to the district. So I just wanted to keep you posted on that. Communication update, I've already talked about that. The graduation update, I've already talked about that. And the parade, please get the word out to neighbors and friends to come out and support our graduates. That's all for me, Mr. Tuttle. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything for Mr. Chevier before we move on to buildings? Mr. Charsky.
So in keeping with tradition, what's the enrollment kindergarten look like? Last time, James, just the last time, then you're clear, you know?
Mike, I knew it was coming, so I double checked. And Regina just side channeled me just to make sure I knew how many. We got 62 signed up and registered. So when it was stated earlier that the class is looking small, it is, but I think it's still a little early. By the end of the summer, I think we'll probably be right about where we are, maybe a couple shy of, typical class, but we're in good shape.
Do you think you're going to pick up any first graders to bump up to 55?
What's that?
Do you think you'll get any additional first graders to bump up to 55? Have you heard anything or any scuttlebutt or anything of that nature? Because you got 55 kindergartners now that are going to go into first grade, right?
Yeah, there's a couple. Don't hold me to that number. I didn't know you were going to come with that type of question, Mike. That's next level.
I got to keep you on your toes, man. Last time out,
I know. I thought you'd just ride off into the sunset with your.
I'm going to. I just wanted to at least make a lasting impression.
All right.
Mrs.
Can I
Baldwin?
pile on? Yeah, I was curious about enrollment as well. Are we going to see kind of numbers in other places creep up because of people who maybe selected a homeschooling option as opposed to a full remote option this year? Just curious if we're going to see across the board a couple trickle back.
Yeah, we have a couple that are going to trickle back in that we knew about when they went out, and we knew about. We know of them coming back in. They've already reached out to, start planning and making for those arrangements. I think, folks like what we have to offer. I think the uncertainty of COVID led to them making that change and knowing where we're headed already. They're coming back. We even had a student that when we were hybrid left and went to a private school and is coming back at the beginning of the year to join our program again. So, a couple of those things, but nothing that's going to rock the boat. That's for sure. Numbers wise.
Is that true, Jackie, in the high school too, or mostly an elementary school issue?
Mostly elementary school. I don't, most of our students just went right to remote. We didn't really have many shoot over to homeschooling, so I don't expect to see too much change there. There might be a couple students who are currently remote that might choose the homeschooling option. I would say that's more likely in our building, but just depending on their comfort level with our program for next year.
Thank you.
I fully anticipate our remote families coming back. Just seeing the kids and the families that attended field day the last 2 days, very excited to be back on campus and participating with peers and teachers in person and seeing their classmates. They've had a virtual class all year, and getting to see their classmates in person has been really exciting for them. So I think for the most part, I don't want to speak for everybody, but it seems like that would be the case.
James, I'm going to stick right with you because we've heard from Mrs. Hill already today. So you're up first.
All right, I'm unmuting again. I just want to update the board on our field day. I know Mr. Xavier kind of gave a little teaser a little while ago that I'd want to speak to that, and he's 100% accurate. With the things that have changed recently with guidance, we felt comfortable opening the yard, the playground, the grass space, whatever you want to call it, campus to allow parents to come in, and we called in a few favors, and the weather has proven to be very pleasant the last few days, and we have had 2 amazing field days. We look forward to another one tomorrow. Our 6th graders have field day tomorrow morning. Parents are also invited to attend that. We're very excited. And then next week, our 4th and 5th grade students have their field day on Tuesday. Looking ahead so far, knock on wood, everything seems to be shaping up for good days for those events. We also had our remote students. We had originally planned a virtual remote field day for our remote students. We've had 2 days in a row where our remote students have been a part of that. And as I said just a moment ago, it's been great to have them back on campus. Great to see those families. And the families that have been, sending their kids every day that I see in the car lines and, see it at pick up or drop off in the morning. It's been great to have them on campus for a real event. With that being said, we are currently looking into the option, and don't get too excited. We got some logistics we have to jump through, but we are looking at possibly doing an in-person monthly morning assembly on Friday next week. It is scheduled for that day, and originally we said it would be virtual. With the way things are opening up, we figure maybe we'll kick the tires on a morning event just so that we know it'll work for graduation that night. So Jackie, stay tuned. I'll let you know how all that goes, okay? You keep feeding me the guidance because I know you stay on top of it.
That's great to
Do
hear.
you want to share anything?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, it's really exciting with all the field days, and with 6th grade, I just want to, give a shout out to our 6th grade advisor is Mrs. Streeter, and all the 6th grade teachers and Miss Hill and all her crew at the junior senior high school will be holding field day there, which we actually have done in the past. We love to use the track. It's a really nice opportunity for the older kids to do some track and field events. So they'll do that. They've got games planned. That's also Mrs. Colleton, our special area teachers, service providers do like an amazing job planning just really fun activities for our kids. And then our PTO has a big part of our 6th grade field day, and we call it 6th grade celebration afterwards. So they're going to have picnic lunch. They're going to have some activities and an ice cream truck, and it's a really fun way to celebrate their last year as elementary students. And then Thursday, the 24th, we will have our moving up ceremony outside at the junior senior high school. Again, thank you, Miss Hill, for helping out with that. And we're really excited to have everybody in person. It's just a really great event and culminating activity. So lots of good stuff going on. So thank you all. And thanks, Mary, for your comment, and everybody else. I'll hardly make it through these events, but without losing it. But it's been amazing, and looking forward to celebrating with everyone.
Yeah, lot of good stuff, Mrs. Rocher. Thank you for sharing. And I will save some of the goodbyes for the end of this week and next week with you. You are going to be missed. But I know it's been tough for you, bittersweet, as we've talked about. And I won't put you through too many of the goodbyes. So we'll save it for next.
Thank you.
All right, Jackie, you're up.
All right. Well, I'd like to just start off by thanking Jenna. I thank you for your kind words, but more importantly, thank you for your service and leadership in our school community. As she mentioned, I've been working with Jenna and her class since 6th grade in all different capacities. been lucky enough to have me in a teacher capacity, a middle school principal capacity, a high school principal capacity, and then a junior senior high school principal. So they have also watched me grow as I've watched them grow, and it's been a pleasure to work with Jenna, and she's certainly embodies what Maple Hill represents, and there's no doubt in her sense of community and school spirit, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm excited to see her go into the education field and make an impact, and hopefully one day it'll be at Maple Hill, like we've seen so many other teachers come back to our community and teach. So I'm proud of her and her class, and I thank you for your contributions. And as we talked about with student board members, I look forward to the future of having our board members be a little bit more of a contributor to some of these meetings and representing our student body. We actually have 2 interested students this year, for next year, which is exciting. So our student council's off voting on our student board member right now. So it's an exciting thing. We're watching the position kind of become more popular, and that's what we hoped for. I will also like to recognize Miss Mary. I know she's on here. We did have the cabaret this past Saturday with limited attendance of family members of our participants. It was amazing what they were able to pull off. They started off practicing like on an individual level, 12 feet apart from each other when possible, sometimes on a computer, and they managed to put an in-person performance together. I'm always very proud of our students that are able to get on stage and put themselves out there and show off their talents. It's not something I could do, so I'm always very impressed by our performance. And Miss Mayer, though she doesn't have a child who takes part in the cabaret or drama, she has been such a supporter of the arts and keeping the program alive. And so I thank her as well for her contributions. We also had our awards night. It's hopefully our last annual virtual awards night, and we'll go back to having them in person, but it was lovely to celebrate so many students and their successes academically and at a service level. It is really a night to celebrate our juniors and our mainly junior awards, and then some senior awards as well. And some of those senior awards are given out at graduation instead of awards night. So our upperclassmen get celebrated. And I just want to note that we do have our 8th graders moving. They're moving downstairs, we like to say, to the high school next year. And so we are having a celebration for them. Really, their formal ceremonies are 6th grade and 12th grade, but we will have a more of an informal celebration for them. We'll give out some awards and really a picnic and time to spray some silly string on one another and just have a good time. So that's coming up next week. And I hope you all have a hookup with the weather, because I've been watching it every single day for next week. And so far it's 75 and sunny on Friday of next week. So that's perfect if we could just stay there. And I look forward to it, and hopefully we'll see some of our board members there on Friday. And thank you.
All right, great, thank you. I think for both principals, anytime you can get any of your kids in front of the board, I think the board would appreciate it. It's a great time for them to learn to speak, and we know it's probably not the easiest thing for them to do, but just from my time on the board, I know all the board members like that. It's probably the better part of what we do. So that's always fun. So any way you can work that in, I'm sure that would be great. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and end building updates, and we will go into section 7 is finance. We've got the treasurer's report, claim auditor's report, approval of salaries. We have approval of contracts. I think there's about 9 of them. Approval of the SAA contract, acceptance of donations. We got a resolution to transfer funds from or general fund transfer, sole source purchase, and then the 2 pre-referendum work that Mr. Chevier was talking about. So is there a motion to move 7 items A through J?
So move.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second? Thank you, Mary. Any discussion on A through J? I am going to recognize our donations, as I think we like to do. We have the Athletic Booster Club, $2,100 paying for top form, which I believe is the athletic training contract. Yep, that we have. Thank you, Jenna, for confirming that. We have Melissa Walker, $200 to the softball program. And then we have about 16 scholarship and award totaling in almost $6,000, I think, that's coming up for graduation, I assume, and the end of the year. So I want to recognize those donations.
Hey, Mike, I do have a question for Brian.
Yes, sir.
And this is on the general fund transfers. I just want to be clear exactly what these transfers are, just so we're all clear. These are, the general fund is our basic, well, can you just explain? We have a number of, we're giving upwards of, what is it? $700,000-800,000 from the general fund to fund some additional reserve funds. So is this money that we didn't need the last year?
So this is not actually physically moving the money yet. This is authorizing me through the end of the year process if we do have additional money to fund those reserves. So the board tells me I can do it, and then they come back and actually approve the transfer afterwards. So what happens is we close out the year, all of our final expenses come in, our final POs get paid. We either wind up positive or negative. If we wind up positive for the year, we will put money into reserve. That's how we build our reserves into fund balance. So we're not doing that tonight. You're authorizing me the ability to do it as we close the year and end it.
So, but based on where you are, obviously you're planning on, you have some precise amounts. Based on your understanding right now, we're going to have we have additional money that we did not use for this year. Is that right?
I'm predicting that at this point. The precise amounts actually there's different reasons why those precise amounts are there. So the TRS reserve, for instance, by law, I only have a certain amount that I can do. The rest of it are generated or really run by the reserve plan that the board adopts in the fall of every year. So what we do is we put the maximum amounts out there, so we have the ability to move it where we need to as we close the end of the year. At this point, though, we do look like we're going to be ending in a positive state.
Right, and I know that this is not uncommon for us to have some additional money. We always plan, we budget to be sure we have enough, and especially last year, there's a lot of things that I think we weren't able to spend for. We just couldn't do it. So it's good to see we have this extra money, and when if it does become available when we close the books on June 30, it's great we can move this over. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions on A through J? Okay, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of moving section 7, A through J, you say aye. Mr. Charsky?
Aye.
Mrs. Gibson?
Aye.
Mr. Graninetti?
Aye.
Mr. Heiser?
Aye.
Mr. Hersey? Mrs. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Peter?
Aye.
Mrs. Urista?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next section is section 8, other actions. We have approval recommendation of the District Committee on Preschool Special Education. We have the approval of the Code of Conduct. approval of the Student Athlete Code of Conduct, approval of 2 resolutions. That's the SEQRA resolutions, which has to do with the bus garage and the work in the CES library. Is there a motion to move section 8, A through E?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. Are there any discussion about A through E?
It might be useful to have Jason just tell the board what D and E really are.
Okay, sure. You're muted, Jerry.
Sorry,
Sure.
we've learned to live with through the pandemic. So the SECRA is acknowledging there is no environmental impact on the projects that will be done. So we work with the architect to get those resolutions on the board agenda. But really it's an acknowledgement that there's no additional environmental impact for doing the work there. No historical site or recognition or any of those things.
Any further discussion on section 8, A through E? Okay, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of moving section 8, A through E, say aye. Mr. Charsky?
Aye.
Mrs. Gibson?
Aye.
Mr. Grandetti?
Aye.
Mr. Heiser?
Aye.
Mr. Hersey? Mrs. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Peter?
Aye.
Mrs. Eurista?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. Motion passes. All right, the next section is our resignation and appointment. We have approval of some staffing actions. We have probationary appointment of a teacher. We have the approval of appointments for coaches, appointments for advisors, and then the summer IT and custodial help. Is there a motion to move section 9, A through E?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Charsky. Before we go into discussion about that, I want to go ahead and give Mr. Chevier the opportunity to talk about some staffing actions.
I appreciate it. You probably have noticed there's a couple of extra windows with some names attached on the screen. So when we vote to approve this section, the board will be appointing 2 new assistant principals, one to the elementary school and one to Maple Hill. Before I give them a quick introduction, I think we're going to start kind of with Hillary. We're going to do them in the order in which we went through that process, but we engaged Mr. Bennett, Ms. Hill, and myself. We did a resume screen of lots of candidates. We filtered it down to about 15 candidates that we did screening interviews with. From the screening interviews, we passed 6 candidates along to stakeholder meetings. And we had a group of faculty and staff. We had a group of students from the junior senior high school. We had a group of parent and community members. And 6 candidates went through that process of meeting with each of those stakeholder groups. Following that, we had 2 candidates slated to meet with the administrative team. And then we did building tours. I will say that Hillary was a front runner with all the stakeholder groups. They really liked everything Hillary had to say. They loved her demeanor. Felt like she would be a great fit at the junior senior high school. And after the leadership team spent some time with her, everybody felt the same way. And so we had great candidates all in the mix, but Hillary really shined throughout that process. And Hillary, we welcome you to our school community and as the newest member of our Wildcat community, and we look forward to getting you started in July. You want to just mute and just say a few words, tell the board a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so excited to join this community. And I'm coming in with over 8 years of teaching experience at elementary, middle, and high school. And again, I'm just so excited to join the Skodak community. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Hillary. Welcome again. We can't wait to start working with you in July. It's going to be awesome. Next, I would like you to introduce Nicole. We went through a very similar process at the elementary school. We were just a little bit ahead at the high school. So we're about a week or so ahead at the high school. Went through a screening process again, invited candidates back for stakeholder interview groups, which candidates met with a faculty and staff group and a parent community group. And then we invited finalists back to meet with the administrative team and did building tours. And much like Hillary, Nicole seemed to be at the top of everyone's list, and everyone had their fingers crossed for Nicole. And she comes to us with a unique background and some really good experience. But we are very, very excited to welcome Nicole. And just as a point of welcoming, I don't know if you noticed, Nicole, one of our board members had a Buffalo Bills hat on, and I thought maybe he wore it for you. We found out that she is very passionate about the Buffalo Bills. We won't hold that against her. Obviously, we are offering her that position. So welcome, Nicole. You want to pop on and just say a little something about yourself?
Sure. Hi. First of all, I just have to say I was sitting here at this meeting and I heard "Circle the Wagons." And then I saw this Buffalo Bills hat come on. So I just had to share. These were our engagement photos when we got engaged. We did our photos on the field. So I felt like I was immediately at home with, the Buffalo love that was coming out. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. I'm super excited. I have spent the last 16 years of my career doing everything from elementary teacher to director of special education and CSE chairperson, instructional coach, behavior specialist. I'm really excited to be making the jump into administration and really looking forward to becoming a part of the Skodak community and joining Mr. Derby at the elementary school. I have a strong love for elementary. That was how I started teaching in a class of 28 kindergartners. So if I can survive that, I feel like I can survive anything. But I'm super excited. My husband's actually in the room too, because he's really excited as well. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody and wanted to wish Carrie the best of luck in your new position. I know I have some big shoes to fill. So thank you for everything that you've done to kind of pave the way for this for me. And I wish you the best of luck in your future.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Well said. And we welcome both Nicole and Hillary to our Wildcat community. We can't wait to get you on board and work with you.
Hey, Jay.
Yes.
I just had one question for Chuck and Nicole. I'm not much of an NFL fan, but when was the last time you guys won a Super Bowl?
Mr. Tony, you got to rein this meeting in.
Champions last year. AFC champions.
Can always count on Dan to do real things. All right.
Thanks again, Hillary and Nicole, and congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you.
I think you got to vote on that section.
Yes, I wasn't sure if you had anything else. I wanted to make sure you were done.
I am done.
Real quick, Mike.
Mr. Heiser.
Yeah, I did want to welcome our two new assistant principals. You're right, you do have big shoes to fill, but the district and board has always been very lucky in getting great people. So I know you're going to be in that same vein. And I also wanted to congratulate Ms. Hill and Mr. Carey for their tenure appointments tonight. Those are easy decisions for this board. So thanks very much to you.
Did I forget to mention that, Mr. Heiser? We look out for each other here. Congratulations to Brian and Jackie. Very well deserved. And just like teachers in that process, tenure is not it's not a given in Skodak. You really have to earn it. And both of you were tremendous hires, and you have done excellent work and will continue to do so, hopefully for many, many more years to come. So congratulations to both of you. Super proud of both of you. Thank you, Mr. Heiser.
All right, so let's move the vote and make this official. So all those in favor of moving section 8A through E, please say aye. Mr. Charsky,
Aye.
Mrs. Gibson,
Aye.
Mr. Grandetti,
Aye.
Mr. Heiser,
Aye.
Mr. Hersey, say it again, Kyle.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Peter,
Aye.
Mrs. Arista,
Aye.
and my vote is aye. So motion passes. Congratulations, ladies. I don't think it's escaped anyone that the women are taking over. I'm just saying. There's the nod. Yeah. Okay. Great. Those are nice to do. And you know what? I just noticed I've been looking at the wrong section. Jill, did you catch that? I don't know, for the audio, I'm just going to correct myself. We just did section 9, A through E, and not section 8, A through E. So my apologies for that. That was section 9, A through E. Okay, this time we're going to go into our section or second section of public comment. So if there's anyone out there in the public that is on, send a chat if you'd like to address the board. *6, *3, put your hand up. Okay, not seeing any hands or no messages. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment then. Move to action items. Do we have any action items tonight?
YMCA aftercare communication and board retreat. So we'll follow up on both those things.
Have we decided if we're going to be in person for the reorganization meeting?
I think the order is set to expire on the day before. I believe it's July 5th. So I would anticipate probably being in person for that meeting.
Okay.
I do believe the executive order expires. My guess is that at some point he's going to, with all the lessening of restrictions, he's going to stop approving that. So I would assume we're probably going to be in person.
I'll expect so.
Yeah, it's a good point, Mary. So yeah, I should probably count on that, or at least plan for that. Okay, so at this time, is there a motion to adjourn to executive session to hear and discuss a CSDA grievance, discuss contract negotiations with CSDA and Mr. Bennett, and to discuss the end of the year evaluation of the superintendent?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Thanks, Gary.
8:40.
I still can't get it right. It's just not going to happen. Thanks, Sherry. Is there, okay, so let's move to vote. Mr. Charsky. All in favor of moving to executive session? Thank you, Mr.
Go.
Mrs. Gibson,
Aye.
Mr. Graninetti.
Aye.
Mr. Heiser.
Aye.
Mr. Hersey.
Aye.
Mrs. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Peter.
Aye.
Mrs. Arista.
Aye.
My vote is aye. Motion passes. So we will move into executive session. Everyone, thank you very much. I appreciate the work tonight. Welcome to the new assistant principals. And Jenna, thank you. Everybody else, I'll see you on the other side.